Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit the bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let's not play games. We're going to get right into things, man. Stephen A. Smith stepped in the kitchen, whipped up a pot of something on Stephanie White. And I think this is well-deserved. I'm going to be real with you. This lady's sitting here trying to play victim. Oh, you guys are trying to hijack our league. No. We watched you not stand up for your players in back-to-back situations. And
Stephanie White reportedly received a scathing public breakdown of her recent conduct, with commentary suggesting her position as head coach is now in serious jeopardy after being audibly booed by her own home crowd. Separately, Aaliyah Boston, now positioned as a perimeter shooter rather than a traditional post presence for the Indiana Fever, has drawn criticism for staying silent on her podcast regarding teammate Sophie Cunningham's on-court altercation. As the team's primary big, expectations exist for her to serve as a protector figure, and her lack of response is being labeled a disappointing failure to back up her teammates.
In big moments, you didn't stand up for Caitlin Clark. You defended Alyssa Thomas when Alyssa Thomas put her fist on Caitlin Clark's throat, and you pretended like you didn't see DiJonai Carrington clobber Sophie Cunningham all upside the head, damn near try to break her neck. You act like you didn't see it. You got to the podium and defended DiJonai, and you're mad that we all are calling you out on it. Stephen A. Smith addressed this. Let's get into it. 1 second. Let me re-pull this up for y'all. All right, here we go.
The critique of White centers on accusations of playing the victim, framing recent events as outsiders trying to disrupt the league, while ignoring a pattern of not defending her own players during critical moments. Specific instances cited include not backing Caitlin Clark when Alyssa Thomas made contact near her throat, instead defending Thomas publicly, and appearing to overlook a physical hit DJ Carrington delivered to Sophie Cunningham's head that nearly caused serious injury. Critics argue White stood at the podium defending the opposing player while expressing frustration at being called out for it.
1 second. Let me re-pull this up for y'all. All right, here we go.
Love, grace, humility will go high. Love, grace, humility will win. And then you tell everybody to go to hell. You think that's going to work for you, Coach White?
Hell no. That already told. She's gone. She can't handle it. She's breaking. She can't handle this.
Think that's going to work for you? The reality of the situation is none of that stuff will win if it's left up to you, Stephanie White.
A specific quote from White, something to the effect of leading with love, grace, and humility, followed by telling people to go to hell, is mocked as contradictory and unconvincing, framed as a sign she's cracking under pressure and unable to manage the situation. The argument is that none of those conciliatory phrases will be effective if her actual handling of the crisis remains poor, and that her current approach is playing directly into the hands of critics because she isn't confronting the real tension surrounding her role and the league at large. Particular emphasis is placed on the fact that she was booed inside her own arena, in front of an estimated 13,000 to 15,000 fans, not on the road, but at home, coaching her own team.
The reality of the situation is none of that stuff will win if it's left up to you, Stephanie White. Because you're not handling it right. You playing right into their hands. Right into their hands. Because you're not embracing the reality of the tense situation that the WNBA, and especially you as the coach of the Indiana Fever, is involved in. There are folks in Indiana at a home game booing you.
That detail is treated as significant evidence of how badly the situation has deteriorated, noting that even vocal support from Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark won't be sufficient to fix the underlying issue. Questions are raised about how, as the coach actively present and engage during the game, she claims not to have witnessed the physical incident in question. The suggestion is that as someone whose job requires constant attention to play-by-play action up and down the court, failing to see it doesn't add up, and many believe she was not being truthful when she said otherwise, essentially reading a prepared, insincere statement rather than offering a genuine reaction.
There are folks in Indiana at a home game booing you.
That's bad. That's bad. 13, 14, 15,000 people booing you at home. At home. You know how bad you had to mess up for that to happen? This isn't a road game. Your ass was getting booed at home.
Especially you as the coach of the Indiana Fever is involved in. There are folks in Indiana at a home game booing you. You ain't the...
Attention then shifts to Aaliyah Boston's podcast appearance, where Candace Parker reportedly discussed at length, around the 13-minute mark, the dangerous nature of the hit on Cunningham, as well as a controversial technical foul called on Clark that was later overturned. Throughout this segment, Boston reportedly said absolutely nothing, prompting questions about whether she's intimidated or unwilling to speak on the matter. Viewers are encouraged to watch the segment themselves due to copyright restrictions, preventing it from being shown directly.
Indiana at a home game booing you. You ain't the road team, you the home team, you the home coach. And they booing you. And Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark can speak up for you all they want to, as they did, and as they should have. But that's not going to be enough. How are you the head coach on the sideline during the play, covering the game, or coaching the game, and you didn't see the play? I'm just asking. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm like, what do you mean you didn't see the play? What, you not watching? We saw it.
The criticism continues, expressing frustration that Boston sat silently for roughly 5 minutes while a co-host discussed serious incidents involving her own teammates, without offering any commentary, support, or reaction. It's framed as a betrayal of team loyalty, questioning why she even hosts a platform if she won't use it to address real issues affecting her teammates. Speculation arises about whether her silence stems from fear of retaliation, referencing past aggressive plays by Carrington, including an alleged eye poke incident involving Clark that also went unaddressed by Boston at the time.
Impossible, but I'm like, what do you mean you didn't see the play? What, you not watching? We saw it. You coaching the game. Up and down the court. It's your job to coach the game, watch the game. How did you not see the play?
That's what we all are saying. But she was lying. And that's another part of this whole thing. She sat up there, tried to play victim, tried to be fake emotional, and she was lying during it. It's like, come on, you're reading off a piece of paper, you're lying, you're doing all types of stuff. Stephen A. Smith ripped Stephanie White. Now, we have got to get into this. We got to.
The overall sentiment expresses greater disappointment directed at White, but insists Boston, too, needs to step up and demonstrate leadership and solidarity with her team, rather than remaining passive during discussions of blatant physical aggression against her teammates. The piece closes by inviting audience reactions and engagement. Caitlin Clark's dominance continues, this time reflected in ESPN's viewership numbers.
Smith ripped Stephanie White. Now, we have got to get into this. We got to get into it. I just want to get into this one section of this thing. And I can't play it because of copyright purposes, whatever. Aaliyah Boston, they had a segment here where Candace Parker is talking about the whole thing with DiJonae Carrington, etc. Aaliyah Boston didn't say a word.
Ratings tied to her games have surged once again, and she now sits among the top 3 contenders in the league's MVP conversation. Clark's impact on television numbers keeps showing up week after week, regardless of outside distractions or controversy surrounding other storylines in the league. One notable trend: networks rarely highlight ratings for other matchups around the league, likely because those numbers don't compare.
Have you noticed that? Is it because the ratings are not good for PR? I think it's bad PR if they show the other ratings because they won't be very good. That is why they only show the Caitlin Clark ratings, because while everybody else is running around clout chasing, complaining about this, oh, we want transgenders, oh, we talk about racism, oh, we want to go start a queer league, oh, we want to do this and do that. Caitlin Clark has a real basketball.
The suggestion is that Clark draws a genuine basketball audience, fans tuning in specifically to watch the sport, which is reflected directly in the numbers. For the second straight week, ESPN posted its second most watched WNBA broadcast ever. The Indiana-Chicago matchup on ABC pulled in 2.6 million viewers, up 79% compared to last year.
fan base. Her fan base actually watches basketball games, which is why her ratings and viewership reflect that. Take a look at this. For the second consecutive week, ESPN delivered its second most watched WNBA game ever. Okay, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky on ABC averaged 2.6 million viewers, up 79%. It says
WNBA coverage across ESPN networks is up 5% overall. The matchup ranks as the network's second highest viewed WNBA broadcast on record, spanning both regular season and playoff games, with audience numbers up 79% from last year's ABC regular season average. Through 22 games this season, WNBA broadcasts on ESPN are averaging 1.3 million viewers, up 5% year over year, meaning Clark's individual matchups are drawing roughly double the season average.
ABC averaged 2.6 million viewers, up 79%. It says WNBA on ESPN networks is up 5%. Caitlin Clark shutting down the ratings. Shutting it down, taking it over. MVP on the court, off the court, in the box score, in the television box offices, everywhere. MVP everywhere. MVCC. That's what it is. Okay, ESPN delivered its second most watched WNBA game ever for the second consecutive week. It says this matchup ranks as ESPN network.
On the MVP front, ESPN's latest betting odds place Aja Wilson, Clark, and Olivia Miles in the top three. Last season, Indiana ran a full promotional push behind Kelsey Mitchell's MVP candidacy, complete with branded shirts and heavy in-arena marketing. Whether the franchise will mount a similar campaign for Clark this year remains to be seen, especially with Las Vegas already promoting Wilson and Minnesota backing Miles.
Second most watched WNBA game ever for the second consecutive week. It says this matchup ranks as ESPN Network's second most viewed WNBA game on record, including both regular season and playoff games. The audience was up 79% compared to last year's ABC regular season average. Okay. Here it says through 22 games, WNBA on ESPN Network is averaging 1.3 million viewers, up 5%. So she doubled what the average is. The average is at 1.3. She doubled it. I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. Caitlin Clark.
The case for Clark leading the MVP conversation is built on her statistical output. She leads the league in total points created, scoring plus assists, sitting at roughly 40 points created per game. She also ranks first in points created per minute and first in assists per game, while sitting third in scoring at nearly 22 points a night.
Caitlin Clark absolutely shutting it down. And then we have to get into this as well. Don't you love to see it? Don't you love to see it? ESPN top 3 betting odds for MVP as of today. You got Aja Wilson, Caitlin Clark, and Olivia Miles. Now, what will be very, very interesting here is we saw the Indiana Fever go out and do an MVP campaign.
Compared to Mitchell, who averages about 2 more points per game, Clark trails slightly in scoring, but leads by roughly 8 assists per game, numbers that make a strong statistical case for her MVP standing, especially factoring in her rebounding average of 4 to 5 boards a night. If Indiana finishes strong, her case only gets stronger.
Interesting here is we saw the Indiana Fever go out and do an MVP campaign for Kelsey Mitchell last season. They went and wore shirts. They wore all types of, they got shirts made. They damn near put a Kelsey Mitchell MVP logo in the middle of the court and got rid of the Indiana Fever logo last season. It'll be interesting to see if the Indiana Fever put on the full court press for a Caitlin Clark MVP campaign. That'll be interesting. You know, the Las Vegas Aces are going to have their Aja Wilson campaign going on. The Minnesota Lynx are already doing their.
The question now is whether the franchise will publicly back Clark's MVP case the way it did for Mitchell last season. Aaliyah Boston, when asked about Mitchell's strong play, praised her work ethic and called her a legitimate MVP candidate.
You know, the Las Vegas Aces are going to have their Aja Wilson campaign going on. The Minnesota Lynx are already doing their Olivia Miles MVP campaign. Will the Indiana Fever do anything for Caitlin Clark's MVP campaign. And let's take a look at this. It says we can dead that 11th best guard narrative. Caitlin Clark is easily top 2 in the MVP race, and she isn't number 2. Take a look here. Caitlin Clark is first in the league in points created. First in the league with points created. She's first in the league in points per game created, meaning points and assists.
When pressed on whether she'd extend the same public support to Clark, Boston did not offer a similar endorsement. That contrast has drawn criticism, pointing out that Boston publicly defended head coach Stephanie White, but stayed silent when Clark was grabbed around the throat during a game, and again when Cunningham was hit hard by an opposing player.
Created. She's first in the league in points per game created, meaning points and assists and all, you know what I mean? 40 a game. This is the difference. And look, I get it. Aaliyah, I don't know why you came out and said Kelsey Mitchell's the MVP. I get it. Kelsey Mitchell's averaging 2 more points per game. Caitlin Clark is averaging 2 less points than Kelsey Mitchell and about 8 more assists. Think about it. Like, come on now. Come on. We're going to get into that. Caitlin Clark, 40.2 points per game created. That leads the league. She's first. First in points.
Critics argue this pattern suggests selective loyalty within the organization, and are calling on both Boston and White, who wore Mitchell MVP promotional shirts last season, to extend the same public support to Clark's case this year given her statistical resume. Whether the organization follows through with a similar campaign will say a lot, according to observers.